You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Thursday. I'm Dalby. No Brock today. Brock is going to be away for a couple days, spending some time with family. Family's the most important thing. We all know that. But we did still have a show today, and we had a few fun conversations that I think you're going to appreciate, including trying to figure out how to stop myself from getting sick.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I am proud of myself, and any parent that calls himself a friend of the show will know this feeling, but I've made it all the way from the start of the school year back in September until mid-November, which, by the way, how the hell is it already mid-November? But I've made it 2.5 months without my kids bringing home some fresh batch of germs. But I do think that the time has come. You know that feeling when all of a sudden you notice your sinuses. My sinuses are there for 42 years. I only notice them when I start to get sick. The sniffles start coming. Your head starts to feel like it's full of beach sand. You start feeling your pulse in your veins up around your temples. School sickness has made its way into my house. I started to notice symptoms yesterday. I am on high alert. I do not want to get sick. I am doing maybe the best I have done since I started to be the father of school-age children for not getting sick, and I need to beat this. I'm already drinking water honestly, like humans are supposed to, but I have increased my water intake. I'm drowning in orange juice, supplementing that with vitamin C pills. I'm already trying to get on the cold FX and all these other things because at this point, I am open to any and all suggestions for how to beat the common cold, how to beat the school time sickness. I do not want to get sick, but I see the stuff online and it all makes me question, right? Like you'll see people who will cut up onions and wear them on their feet at night while they sleep. They'll put onions inside socks and sleep with them because it's said, the old wives' tale, that onions will leach the toxins out through your feet while you're sleeping. And then you wake up in the morning and your whole bed smells like onions, but allegedly you won't get sick. I see stuff like that and I go, I don't believe that. I don't know anybody that's ever done it. I feel like I've watched too many after-school specials and medical documentaries to feel like that has any chance of being real. But also there's a part of me that's like, I don't want to have to take a sick day before the end of the year. I'm doing so good this year. So I am opening up the calls to you, my friend, 762-555. I'm looking for your preventative measures. What do you do to make sure you don't get sick? And again, I'm not looking for the basic stuff. I'm not looking for I take cold effects when I start to feel, or I just increase my vitamin C or drink a little bit more water. I want the unhinged stuff that you swear by, the stuff that your grandma taught, your mom taught you, and you use it every time it gets to cold and flu season. What are your unhinged but working cold remedies and preventative measures? I want to hear from you today because I am at this point ready to believe anything.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
There's a lot of stuff out there that'll tell you it'll fix the common cold. It'll help prevent the flu. You'll never get sick as long as you take these things and do these things. But I'm not looking for the over-the-counter stuff. I'm not looking for the mainstream remedies because I feel this cold coming on, and I do not want it to kick my ass this weekend. So I'm ready for your unhinged home remedies that have been passed down for generations. And I want to start with you, Tatiana. What is your go-to when you get sick?
Totally taking a couple of drops in either a shot of orange juice or a shot of water. And you mix it up, and then you take it like a shot.
Couple drops of what?
Oregano oil.
Oh, God. Tatiana, I would rather do a shot of tequila.
That's why it's supposed to burn up the throat mucus.
So how long have you been doing this? Your whole life?
Since my aunt told me all about it, my Italian aunt.
You know what? A good old Italian Nona knows best. I didn't believe you. I wasn't on board until you told me it was your old Italian aunt. Now I'm kind of like, well, maybe I need to buy some.
Exactly. It works every single time, and I get sick maybe once a year.
Damn, that's hard to argue with. If you're only getting sick once a year. And I mean, listen, we have a whole economy based around Buckley's being the best cold medicine for no other reason than it tastes bad. So maybe this is something that we can get behind. I also saw somebody say that their cure on the text line, 762-555, was just a bowl of mashed potatoes with garlic in it. And I have so many questions. I tried to get this person on the phone to ask them about it, but they didn't answer. What do you do with the bowl? Do you just eat it? Do you just eat mashed potatoes? Do people in Ireland just not get sick ever? Does PEI have no cold or flu issues? Or do you have to do something else with the bowl of mashed potatoes that's what makes it unhinged? Pam is on the phone waiting for us. Pam, you've got one. How do you deal with a cold?
Well, when you start to feel that tickle coming on, you get yourself a nice cold beer and you go and you have yourself some nice hot chicken wings. You get your temperature up and it forces the cold out.
You burn it off with the spicy chicken. Where does the beer come in?
Well, you got to have the beer with the chicken wings, don't you?
That's just purely recreational then.
No, it's part and parcel of the cure.
Hey, you swear by it? It works for you?
It has in the past and it's worked this year, so I'm not going to complain.
I mean, if you're not sick and you're not getting sick, then maybe there is something to it. But I will say, Pam, I think that if spicy chicken wings and a cold beer was the solution, then no one would ever get sick during NFL season.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Good news for anybody who happens to have $10 million just kicking around and loves taking dumps. The Sotheby's Auction House has announced that next week they will be auctioning off a solid gold toilet that is fully functional, plumbs in just like a regular toilet. You could put it in your bathroom and use it as you would any of the regular toilets that you see out and about. It just happens to be crafted from 223 pounds of gold. Now, technically, it is considered a piece of art and not necessarily homeware, but despite it being an actual working commode, they say it is an art installation. The artist has named the exhibit America. It's supposed to be sort of a commentary on art and commerce and how you can pour money into things, but it doesn't necessarily make them better and all these other sort of diatribes. But it's been in a private collection for the last 8 years with a art collector, which begs the question, what's the mileage on this thing? I mean, $10 million as an opening bid price is allegedly supposed to reflect the value of just the gold alone, right? You're buying solid gold. You could melt this thing down. They actually had a second one that was melted down by thieves who broke in and stole it and sold off the gold separately. So you got to pay a decent amount just for that, but then you have the additional functionality of being able to sit and do your business. But I have to think that if this thing's been through the paces of everyday use in a person's home, that has to lower the value at least a little bit, right? Like, I need to see the Carfax on this thing before I could even think about placing a bid if I had that kind of money. What kind of diet did this person have? What did they like to eat? Did they eat a lot of high-fiber foods? Were they in there going to war more often than not? And what did they think about the brush? Were they a fan of the brush? Did they have someone come in and brush it down after particularly serious engagements? Now, that said, I am all for splurging on a nice toilet. You ever sit on a really bad toilet? Like use an office bathroom or a public bathroom at like a mall or something. The shape of it's just not right. The height of it is off. The seat's cracked. There's just something that doesn't feel. It can ruin your whole day to sit on a bad toilet. It's like how they say you should never cheap out on your bed because you spend so much time on the thing. You want to make sure it's the best that it can be. You're going to want to be comfortable when you're in your bed. And as a parent who likes to hide from his kids from time to time, I want to make sure that I have a particularly comfortable throne. So I'm all for spending a little bit of money on a toilet. Gold, probably not necessary, though.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
In this economy, it's a good idea to find ways to be frugal. Anywhere that you can cut down on costs is only going to help down the road. But there are just certain things in life that are worth spending a little bit extra on. Things where you know you're going to get use out of them. You want them to be the best that they can be. Dustin, what's that one thing for you, man?
Never cheap out on your pillow, man. You go to bed every single night. You got to spend like $150 on a good pillow.
$150. Hey, listen, I'm saying this as somebody that spent a number I'm not comfortable saying in public on my bed for the same thought process. But man, there's just something about my brain at $150 for a pillow. You swear by it?
I swear by it. You got to shop the 2-for-1 though, because then you can surprise the wife like, hey, I got you this amazing pillow.
That's a great point, is going out and spending $150 for your pillow and then letting your significant other, your partner, sleep on the $20 Walmart special feels like you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah, so you avoid that. Get the 2-for-1, prizer, nice pillow. Also, don't be cheap on your coffee maker, too. You know, you get the 15, 20 options. Make the iced coffee. It's amazing.
That's true, too. The way some people talk about, like, don't talk to me until I've had my coffee. Like, the coffee is everything. Why would you put yourself through having bad coffee in the morning when you could spend a little bit extra? Though I have seen some friends get into the coffee thing as a hobby, and you can spend a lot of money going down that path. So there has to be like a happy medium, I would say. If you're spending more than a mortgage payment on your coffee machine, you better be opening a Starbucks, is all I'm saying. Brian texted in, 762-555. I never thought about this one. Snow shovel. You got to spend money for a good snow shovel. I know it's tempting to walk into the Walmart or the Canadian Tire, the Home Depot, or wherever, and you see, all right, that one's like $10-15. Looks like a shovel to me. Let's get it home. But you get those ones with like the double handle that makes it easier on your back, or a nice sharp blade on the front to help get the fine down on the driveway. There are all these like super fancy shovels you can get now. And I mean, you want to even take it to the next level. You start getting into the snow throwers, the snow blowers, the electric brushes, the electric shovels. You can really make the winter months more manageable and more tolerable just by spending a little bit of extra money on your shovel. I like that idea from Brian. I want to read one more text that we got here, because it says, this isn't about something that's in my house, but it's about the last time I had to move houses. You should always splurge on movers if you can afford it. Once you get old enough to not be able to ask your friends to help move your stuff for beer and pizza, hiring someone else to just do the work and not have to worry about it is clutch. And I will say, when I moved out here, I managed to foot the bill to Rogers to hire movers, and even to the next step, to hire packers, to have people come in the house, pack everything up in boxes, put the boxes on the truck, bring it to where I was moving to, and put them in my new house. And I don't know if I can go back to the other way again. Like, the idea of doing it myself now, I've spoiled myself, but the idea of finishing a job of moving and not having crippling back pain, it's just the best way to go. It's how we were meant to live. And if you're someone out there that does moving, that does packing, just know you're doing the Lord's work, and you're worth every penny you make.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I was talking about cold remedies, things that you do for not only getting over a cold, but preventing colds from happening in the first place. And a significant number of people said that the way that they deal with getting a cold is to just hammer the booze. Saw people saying, my grandma says it's vodka shots. Some people saying they do Crown Royal. Tequila is in there. Of course, the infamous hot toddy, which science does back up that like drinking a hot toddy will feel good when you are feeling sick. You know, you get the hot liquid and you get the honey and the steam and everything. But the problem is that those are the parts that are actually making you feel better. And all the science says that if you are sick with a cold, drinking any kind of alcohol is actually bad for you. It dehydrates you. It can slow down your immune system and all these other things. But I will say, for people who are maybe a little bit on the disappointed side, the folks at Medical News Today, I've been doing some research here today while you guys have been listening to the music. They say that there is evidence that drinking a small amount of alcohol on a regular basis could reduce the number of colds people get per year. It will not help you if you've already got a cold, but they are saying people who drink casually, recreationally, small amounts, not getting blackout every weekend, may experience fewer colds per year because of the alcohol. Why does that work? Well, they don't quite know yet. And to be honest, I don't think I would be smarter if I understood it. So I'm just going to take it at face value and start having daily drinks for my health.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Can you fight a kid Like, at what age would it be acceptable to throw fists with a child? And I only ask not because things are not going well at home or that I saw a particularly rowdy kid out in the neighborhood. I only ask because a video has gone viral of a man on an airplane being absolutely river danced by a rugrat in the seat next to him. Like, the kid is rolling around on its back on the seat, legs all akimbo, flying in the air, kicking this man in the arm and the shoulder and the ribs. And the mom is there, but making like the odd weak attempt to stop them, kind of like reaching over and being like, oh, no, don't, please stop that, don't do that. But also mostly just kind of ignoring it, like, hey, at least the kid is picking on somebody else for a change, and she's just trying to get some rest or something. And all I can think of is that, like, I know and I was raised that violence is not the answer, but this feels like a very teachable moment for this kid, and mom is not looking like she's going to deliver that lesson. And obviously, hitting a kid is not a real option. You might think about it, but seriously, how do you handle this? Like, the guy in the video is incredibly calm and just sort of accepting his fate. I got the unlucky lottery ticket of sitting next to this kid that wants to work on bicycle kicks for its eventual soccer career. But all I can think of is, how many rows back could I launch this kid if I grabbed it by the ankle? Or, honestly, the parent, for that matter, because the kid is doing the attacking, but it's the parent that kind of deserves the ire, because, like, wrangle your kid. And of course, the plane is full, so there's nowhere for this person to go. I don't think anybody else who can see what's going on is going to volunteer to switch seats. Flight attendants don't seem to be able to do anything. Like, do you ask the flight attendant, can you just bring me as many pillows as possible? Try to build, like, a little fort between you and the kid? Maybe just, like, stuff them all into that kid's seat so it can beat up on the pillows instead of on you? Or do you just try and go sit in the bathroom for a while for some peace and quiet? Just be like, listen, occupied. I'm going to be in here thinking about how I'm going to fly on literally any other airline next time I get tickets.
The Brock and Dobby Podcast.
I want to say, first off, thank you to Sean, who answered my rhetorical question of, can you fight a child, with a text at 762-555 of, depends how big they are. It's always very comforting to know when you're surrounded by people who think the way that you do. The question, though, did come up today from a video of a kid doing a full jig on a guy's arm on a flight. The kid is sitting in the middle seat. Mom is on one side, not really paying attention. The guy is sitting on the other side, and the kid is just going bananas. And he's sitting there quietly, and he's sort of just dealing with it. But getting stuck next to someone who sucks on a flight is one of the worst things about flying these days. You know, people also texted in when you're sitting next to somebody who is a little bit on the bigger side and sort of spills into your space. We've already been compressed by the airlines. The seats are all so small now that to lose even a bit of that space is awful. Having to fight someone for the armrest, someone who wears too much cologne, perfume, body spray, anything like that, and just comes in smelling like a Bed Bath & Beyond, that's not a good time. Also, if you're stuck behind somebody who's reclining, we saw some text come in today, 762-555. Someone, like, a little bit of recline, I get it. We all want to be comfortable. Everybody's got that angle. But throwing your whole chair into the lap of the person behind you, I know that this is like a contested issue. Some people think, the seat reclines, I should be allowed to be comfortable. If you don't like it, you can recline. But I just don't think passing the burden on to the person behind you is the best way to go about it. Ashley made a great case, though, in talking about the worst things that can happen when you're on a flight. For when you're in the middle of a long flight and your stomach just informs you that things are not going smoothly, you are no longer well. And spending any amount of time in an airplane bathroom is a bad time. But having to be in there fighting for your life in the middle of a flight, knowing that the people outside are taking note of just how long you've been at war, especially if there are people who are standing in the aisle waiting for their turn to get in there. And then the ultimate indignity of having a flight attendant knock to ask if you're okay. Sorry, sir. Sir, just wanted to see if everything's okay in there. Because, of course, they think you're up to something. Once you've been in the bathroom for long enough, they think that you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing. When in reality, you're just trying not to have all of your insides fall to the outside. And at that point, just eject me from the bottom of the plane. I will take my chances with gravity rather than walk back out that door and have everybody on the plane look and be like, ooh, I bet he made a mess in there.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The U.S. made their final penny yesterday. They will not be minting any more pennies going forward. They'll be joining us here in Canada in eliminating the 1 cent coin, going to the rounding system of round down, round up, keep things on the 5 and the 0. It makes sense. Like, I've never heard anyone here complain since the penny bit the dust back in 2012. 13 years later, I've yet to come across any situation where I wished I had pennies in my pocket or in my change cup or anything. Things are just so much easier with the round up, round down system. It makes nice, even numbers. I feel like the penny was always more of a burden than anything else. Like, yeah, okay, I can pay you an exact change. But also, when I was a kid, you just scrounge up your change to go buy candy or gum or whatever. You go in the store, you try to do the math in your head. You try to figure out the GST, the percentages. And you go up to the counter, you'd end up a couple cents short. So you start profiling the clerk at the till, trying to be like, man, is this guy going to be cool? Is he going to let it slide? It's just 2 cents. Or is he going to be the type that makes me put something back because I was a penny short? Even as an adult, if you were the type to have social anxiety by taking the penny or leaving the penny, like having to dip into that dish, it felt like everyone else in the store was judging you. If you need that one little copper disc to complete the transaction because the guy behind the counter was like, no, it's 87 cents, not 86 cents. Or, of course, the worst case scenario, no matter how old you were, was being behind somebody at the store who decided that today's excursion was going to be the day they cleaned out their change drawer. And now Mildred and the gas station cashier are working together to count out roughly 487 pennies to see if she's going to have to use a 5 to cover that Eat More Bar Club Soda combo, or if she's got enough change to make this transaction go through. R.I.P. American pennies, you will not be missed.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Brock is not here today. He's going to be with family for today, tomorrow, for the weekend. He'll be back on the show on Monday. We're looking forward to that, but it is a Thursday, which means it's Texas Thursday, and I will not be the one to deprive you of the song that you came here looking for. So here is a throwback to 2023.
You know, I usually never say anything before I sing my Texas Thursday songs.
Yeah, there's usually no preamble here.
I'm kind of nervous for this one. I don't know how it's going to go.
Okay.
So please don't judge me if this one sucks. I've been trying to work on it, but are you ready?
I'm so excited
now. Let's just get into it. Text, send us a text, 762-555 right now. Ask us a question. There's no limits. Come on, get weird with us now. That's all I got.
That's lots. That's plenty.
I wrote out more lyrics. It's too fast in my lips, and the words don't work.
I've been listening to that song, the original, since it came out. It's one of my favorite songs. I still cannot sing along with it in a reasonable fashion.
It's impossible not to get tongue-tied saying that, dude.
You definitely chose a heavyweight to do a parody song of today, and I'm proud of you for it. Our first one today says, what's the secret to not gaining weight over the holidays? That one's actually really easy to answer. The secret is to gain weight before the holidays, and then you just kind of coast through the rest. Like, I'm already a fat guy. I'm not going to get fatter by eating Christmas snacks and turkey dinners, so I've already sort of set the table for myself. If you're asking how to not be a fat guy in the first place, I don't have the answer to that. I haven't had the answer to that since my mid-20s, but if you find out, please let me know. 762-555. Next one in here says, eliminate one band from history. They never existed. No one ever heard from them. Who would you pick? If you listen to the show or you listen to the podcast long enough, you know I don't like the Beatles. I feel like the Beatles are overrated. I don't get the hype. And so you might be expecting that I would say the Beatles, because then I would never have to hear people talk about them. I'd never have to hear any of their songs. But I think the key with a question like this is you also have to take into account that if the band never existed, then they never influenced future artists. And there are so many artists that say that they grew up listening to the Beatles, and the Beatles made them want to play music. Even some rock stars saying, like, seeing the way that women would chase after the Beatles made them want to pursue the rock star lifestyle. So I don't think you can take the Beatles out of history without having a dramatic impact on the rock landscape, the music landscape that we have today. So instead, I'm just going to go with U2. And I know that U2 also inspired some people, but I think we can stand to lose that and just never have to deal with listening to Bono ever again. I would feel okay about that. This text here says, what James Bond gadget would you want the most? So I'll preface this by saying, and I'm going to get negative texts about this, I've never watched a Bond movie from start to finish. It's just not my cup of tea. That said, I've played the games. I'm familiar with all the different gadgets. I feel like the car with the license plate that changes would be handy, although now that speed cameras are starting to go away, probably not as necessary to have something like that. You know, it would probably be one of the watches. The watches that can do all the lasers or the hacking computers. You know, over the years, James Bond has always had a cool watch that did cool things. I think that would have to be the one that I would pick. Let's do one more here. It says, why do I watch sports when I know it's just going to make me mad? I'm going to go ahead and assume that this is coming from a Leafs fan because things are not going great these days. It's just how it is, though. I feel like sports are at their most interesting when there's a struggle. Like when your team... I looked to the New England Patriots when they were on their dynasty in the NFL with Tom Brady, and they were just winning every year. And it was the least interesting time in football because it was boring. It was cool to watch every now and again, like, oh, Tom Brady set a new record. I guess that's pretty neat. But overall, when you kind of knew how the game was going to end, it made it less interesting to watch. So when your team is struggling and they're making you mad and they're blowing leads and they're losing games and they haven't made the playoffs or won the Stanley Cup since 1967, yeah, it can be a bummer. But man, when they finally pull it off, is it ever going to feel sweet? None of us will be alive when that happens, Leaf fans, but still, if some generation in the future before the sun burns out is going to know what it's like, and it's going to be pretty cool.
Want to be a part of the podcast?
Leave a message on the Bad Line.
The Bad Line is the answering machine for the Brock and Dalby Show.
To get the number, text the word BAD to 762-555.
Thanks for listening to the Brock and Dalby podcast.